Fellow Meet and Code enthusiasts. My name is Philip and I'm part of the Meet and Code team, and I'd like again to wish you all a warm welcome from myself, but also from our partners, Haus des Stiftens, TechSoup Europe, SAP, and of course our European partner, the German Federal Ministry of the Interior. Welcome to our second Meet and Code online seminar in October. And I can tell you already, and I already told that a second ago, that we are continuing the series with a fantastic speaker, and I will say a few words about him in a minute. But before I do that, I would quickly like to take the chance and say, welcome, Vladimir. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you very much for welcome. I'm really happy to be here.
Cool. No, I'm really looking forward to today's session, to be honest. But to all of you who have never heard about Meet and Code or have never heard about the initiative, let me quickly enlighten you for a second. So Meet and Code was launched in 2017 to assist nonprofit organizations in providing digital skills education to young people all across Europe. So now, 5 years on, Meet and Code has reached more than 170,000 youth across 35 European countries. Those are big numbers, aren't they? And we're basically giving, the youth digital literacy and coding skills to thrive in tomorrow's competitive digital economy. And how does Meet and Code do that? Well, Meet and Code awards my so-called micro grants of as much as 500 euros to local nonprofit organizations to facilitate the digital skills workshops they are actually delivering. And I'm sure that many in our audience today will undoubtedly be recipients of those grants and have profited from these micro grants already. I also quickly want to emphasize that while we're in the middle of the EU Code Week, the Meet and Code event implementation period is currently climaxing with hundreds of events taking place all over Europe. So definitely a shout out to everyone contributing to the EU Code Week and to providing digital skills to youth today. But coming back to the Meet and Code online seminars, you might be interested or might be curious, so what are the Meet and Code online seminars all about? The online seminar series is an extension of the Meet and Code commitment to help nonprofit organizations become more innovative and creative in the work that they do. They are designed to inspire all of you, our Meet and Code community, with learnings and insights from great SAP experts, such as the one that we have with us today. And they will provide insights and insights into the exciting world of the IT and coding. But enough of myself. And now let's introduce our dynamic and inspiring speaker today. We are very, very delighted to have Vladimir Valouch with us today. Vladimir works as a software engineer in the data science team at SAP Concur. He has over 15 years of experience building software systems of all sizes and more than 4 years of experience when it comes to machine learning. So quite astonishing, to be honest, from my point of view. During his professional journey, Vladimir integrated the first on-device model for Concur Mobile and enjoys investing his time innovating and automating anything he can. He considers each day that he learns something new a great day and lives by his personal motto, and I found that quite cool, to be honest, and very inspiring already. Never stop learning. But since it would be much more interesting to hear something from him directly and not from me, I will stop talking now. And let me just say again that we are very honored, grateful, and hugely amazed. And despite all your commitments, you have prioritized the time to be with us today. So let's just dive right into today's topic and learn more about the exciting world of coding. Vladimir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Philip. Thanks for such an astonishing introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Vladimir Valouch, and today I will be speaking about power of coding. We will go through some sort of introduction. We will check what is the coding, where we use coding, why we actually need any coding. And once we realize that we actually need it, I will show you how to start. And don't be worried, even we will get to the live coding session. So a little bit about me. As Philip mentioned, I'm programming for more than 15 years now. And the variety of the languages that I went through is relatively big. I'm currently mentioning just the biggest ones or the most used ones, which I like personally. And we will definitely try a few of them. I'm trying to I'm trying to take part in really nice initiatives like Meet and Code and the OFE, which is Duke of Edinburgh workshops and trainings, knowledge sharing. But let's stop about me and start with what is coding? If we will really just take it through the definition, it's definition of the steps that needs to be executed in order to achieve certain goal. Personally, I more prefer the other idea or the second explanation. Coding is simply conversion of your ideas into some written code so that it can be run multiple times as you wish. Coding itself is language independent. Programming is language dependent. But today we are here to really speak about coding. So where do you think we are using coding? Do you really think that the person who is typing anything on a computer or writing the code is the coding one? Philip, let me ask you, do you think that you are coding?
Ooh, to be honest, I don't really think so. I'm not a big coder.
I will tell you, you are. And you know why? Imagine, according to the definition, coding is putting down the idea into some sort of steps to achieve the goal. Are you running microwave oven? I believe you do. You set timer, you set the power and hit the button. Voila, you have just created your first program. Unfortunately, it's not written on a paper, so you need to each and every time type it, but you are coding. Another example is setting up of an alarm clock, which is really close to how we are actually coding, because setting up alarm clock means that you need to open the application, set up the correct time, and you save it. And then each and every time the phone checks the code and the conditions are met, the code is executed, the alarm clock is ringing. So I believe each and every one of us is in certain way programming and coding. So where we use it, everywhere and every day. So Philip, no answer like I'm not coding. You are coding. Even Annika, you are coding too, definitely. So why do we do coding? In general, even with the microwave oven, we are doing it because it's simple. We just transfer our idea to a set of steps and we're done. It can save definitely quite a lot of time. Imagine the idea or what I've previously mentioned, the microwave oven. You set timer, you set power and hit the button. And imagine that you would try to do the very same thing as the microwave is doing automatically without your help or need. You would go next to it and start to warm up some food on a cooker. So I believe that I've just proven that we can save a huge amount of the time with the programming and coding. We all know that any coding is highly valued on the market because simply if you can save your time, you can save resources of the whole department and of the whole company. Therefore, the company can, within the same amount of the time, do way more. And what I personally love the most about the coding and why should you try the coding, especially if you love at least a tiny bit of adrenaline. With the coding, programming, any software, you will never ever deplete the amount of the challenges which there are. And in the minute you think that you solved everything, I bet you that in very next moment, you will find a brand new challenge. It's like that, good or bad, it is like that. So how you can start with the programming and coding. Personally, for me and how it was in my past, just find something what is routine. You repeat it each and every day and you don't like it. You would like to do something totally different. For me, in the past, how I started with the coding was that I had a summer work in other company where I was filling some forms. Just by sitting there and rewriting each and every time, I spent there 8 hours, but I didn't want to spend there that much time. It was way easier for me to just write a simple code script, which would do 8-hour work in 10 minutes. I was happy, my boss was happy, and everyone enjoyed it. Another thing is, for once you choose the routine you would like to automate, is definitely choose the most suitable language for it. Imagine you are working with Excel, Microsoft Excel. Each and every time you have a huge amount of sheets and you need to change some data. You have, in my eyes, for the beginning, 2 options. The first one, I would go with the Python. It's super easy to learn, but you will need some IT or some place to compile it. Or you can search a lot, just a tiny bit more, and you will figure out that Excel supports Visual Basic, so that again, you can simplify your life greatly. In total, and in order to have something to take away, each of your solutions preferably should save time, at least a tiny bit. Any tiny bit of saved time is good time because you can use it for anything else. Also, if you save time via coding, you definitely will get not just the save time, but also learn a little bit or tiny bit or even more about how the coding works. Therefore, any other task will take way shorter time. So if you're going to start, try just 10 minutes a day. Believe me, 10 minutes a day is really a huge amount of the time. What is most important, it's not really those 10 minutes. What is most important is that you should do it regularly, every day, ideally. You will find out that short, regular sessions definitely beat anything. So if you are planning to start right now, try to check these portals. Those are just a few of my favorite ones. I won't be speaking that much about the learning ones. They are there, and I'm quite sure you will be able to find even more. But try those coding portals. For example, if you bump into the situation, and that one also happened to me, oh, you know what? I would like to code, but I don't know what should I code. For that, check those coding portals. HackerRank, pretty good one. Code Academy, marvelous one. And SoloLearn, you can run it in your phone. So pretty much any second you have spare, you can use it and play with it. Each and every second you invest, you obtain some knowledge. How you can start in a really simple way, and that's what we're going to actually go through today, are Scratch, CodeLab, Microsoft Excel, and Replit. Except for Microsoft Excel, you do not need to install anything, which I believe should be interesting for you. So ready, set, coding. And as I promised, we are moving to live coding session. Let's switch to browser. We will start today with Scratch. What we are going to create is super simple app. Our main goal is to show how the knowledge of the coding is transferable. What I'm really planning to show is that we are converting idea. We are not, once we know the idea, we can use pretty much any language. Of course, each language learning takes time a bit, but once you know how to approach it, you solve anything with any language. So let's start. We're going to create a new project. This project will lead us to play with this tiny cat. Here you can see it. If anyone is going to try it, please, actually, I would strongly suggest you try to open this page and try to follow me. I won't go that fast. If you will have any questions, please share them with us in the chat. If not, if you won't share them immediately in the chat, you can keep them for Q&A session. So the task here, we would like to make this cat so that it's moving from left to the right, and once it hits the wall, it will go back and back. So this way, endlessly running between the walls. So let's start. Here in Scratch, what you can see on the left-hand side, there are a few categories that you would like to use, and you will actually need to use. Let's start with the first one, which is event. And the most important event for us is that we need to tell to Scratch, hey, Scratch, move. This is this way. So when we click on the flag, it will make something. It will trigger our code, which is not yet existing. Another thing, what we would like to do, for example, if we play with the Scratch and our cat ends somewhere else, we would like each and every time the cat to start in the middle. How to do that? Probably we can check what the motion offers to us. In the motion, we can find something like go to block. So what does go to block will do? It will each and every time, once we hit the green flag, it will move the cat back. So let's check it out. Cat is here, and voila. So the idea for me was just, I want it to be always at the same start. The next thing, we need to actually do something about the movement. And for the movement, we would normally use move. So if we go and add move 10 steps and I click start, you see it made a short start. But if I start it again, it will just go back and it will do just those 10 steps ahead. So probably this is not the way, or I'm missing something. What can I miss? Probably something what will tell me repeat each and every time. For that, we can go into the control. And the one which I'm going to use is repeat forever. Okay, forever and move. So once I start the application, I'm telling start here and then move endlessly. Let's verify it. Oh, okay, the cat is running and it's almost gone. Can we do something about it? Yes. We can take our cat back. That's one option. Probably we don't want to do that. Or click on it this way. Now, we need to learn the cat that once it realizes that there is something it hit, that it should turn. Let's do it. For that, we probably will need condition. So if you moved 10 steps ahead, and if, and probably we would like to go for the sensing, because our cat needs to sense something. It will be touching. And what it will be touching? It will be touching our edge. So we just programmed condition. So once we start at the middle, we go forever and move 10 steps ahead. What it will do, it will touch the edge. Once it touches the edge, we need to actually turn our cat to go back. So I will take a turn. And because we want it to turn really in opposite direction, it means 180 degrees. There is one small thing that we need to add. Or actually, I will show it first. So what we said to cat, oh, hey cat, please rotate. But you see, it is probably not exactly what we wanted it to do, right? which cat is running backwards with its head down? Probably none. Fortunately, we can fix it. For that, we can use this set orientation style. And let's move it to the beginning. We can say that it should rotate left, right. Don't rotate all around. By the way, all around is the default. That's why it's this way. So let's choose just left to right. Ah, our cat is turning, it's turning. Okay, so what we have learned, we can convert our idea to this code, which will say that once we click, it should start to do something. We will set the rotation, we will say where it should start, and that it should each and every step when the processing is happening, do 10 steps ahead. I can show you one nice trick, especially if you like at least a tiny bit play with the visuals. Our cat actually has multiple costumes. And if you will ever dare to play a little bit more with the Scratch, feel free to even create your own costumes, because once you have multiple costumes, you can animate nice movements. So our cat can do actually multiple steps, as you see, running or sort of standing. While it's moving, we would like it to look like that. For that, we are just going to go for the looking, and we will find next costume. So each and every time we do move 10 steps, we will change the costume. And let's have a look how it looks like. Oh, our cat is running. That's exactly what we wanted to reach. And we have our Scratch game almost done. Or it's actually done, unless we would like to add some other opportunities. Because once you play with the Scratch, our cat not just can run from one side to another, but once we detect that the cat, for example, touched the wall, we can say, ouch. And for that, you can do it this way. Either say hello, ouch. It will turn, it will wait for 2 seconds because we set it this way. But this is just for fun, and you can definitely make it an even better way than this. We have just created Scratch cat running cat. We will move further. And because I promised you to use another tool, we are moving to Python. Python language itself is really beautiful language. It's non-typed, therefore it's super fast to learn. You can do initial scripting without any bigger knowledge of the language. And that's what I'm actually going to show you, how even with the super limited knowledge of the language, you can sort of replicate our running cat in the Python. This time it will be without visuals, because with the visuals, it would take a little bit longer, but the basic will stay there. So for the Python code, what we need, what we were changing with our cat, it was just the position of the X, where if you will observe this part, this right middle corner or right middle part of the screen, you will see X, and you see as it is running that the X is changing. Y stays the same. So I will simplify the example in a Python tiny bit. What we need is our cat X position. There will be a tiny bit more typing. Equals 0. Well, what we also need to define is where are the coordinates that that we would like to hit our walls. So left wall will be on 100, and let's do it this way, minus 100, and the right wall will be at X position 100. So imagine we have axis, and on that axis we can move from 100 to -100. And we have our cat position. And the speed of the movement, at least the default one, will be the same. By the way, as you see, I'm not installing anything. That's actually a beautiful part about the Code Lab. All you need to do is to have your Gmail account, which I believe majority of you have. Just type Colab research google.com. It will ask you if you would like to create a brand new notebook, and here you are. Our movement will be 10. And again, I'm going to replicate what we did with the cat. We will forever repeat our move. So while through, what do? We will say that the cat position is increased by our move. If the cat X position is bigger or equal to our right wall, what we did, we were running with the cat and the cat hit the wall. We need to tell the cat, oh, please rotate. With the programming, it's actually a tiny bit easier because in this particular case, all what we need to do is to say that the move this time it will be -10. So once we reach the edge, we need to go back. And for a very similar setup, it will be cat X position is smaller or equal to left wall. We will set it back again because we want it to increase. Because we would like to see that our cat is moving in some sort of way, the easiest way for us is to just print to the command line what is happening. Cat X position, and this is tiny help from my side. I will move it a little bit up right after the move so that I can easily distinguish it. I will put it there, just comma. If I would print it this way, then the number will be, then the text will be in one line and constantly running. Though we would like to somehow distinguish our turns. So for that, I will help myself a tiny bit by printing empty string after each turn. This will ensure that there will be brand new line added. And let's run it. And let's hope that everything is right. Wow, that's actually pretty fast, right? Let's stop it. Our cat was ultra fast. You see how quickly it was running from our original position 0 to 100. Then it realizes, oh, okay, 100. I need to go back. So the next move was already on the position 90. One more thing, if you would like to play a little bit more with it, you can. And what I would recommend you to would be to add some slowdown so that you can really observe it in more detail. For that slowdown, which is not mandatory, but still might be pleasant to use, you can use time.sleep. And we're telling it how long it should sleep after doing the step. Let's run it. Isn't it better? It's more like a scratch previously running. So I hope that someone else is also following my coding and they have the running code and trying it. Feel free to experiment with it. You see how little code I needed to really make previously cat running, now our code printing something to the console. I will stop it now, and I will show something very similar, just in case someone of you is missing a Google account. You can still use this replet. It's pretty much the same thing. With the nice thing, Google Colab is mostly for Python. While with the replet, you can choose quite some plethora of the languages. So if you have some dream of trying a language which you heard about, but you never ever seen its syntax, this is the place where you can definitely experiment with it. But I will stick just to the Python for today, or mostly. The simplest way how you can run exactly the same code is just to take it there. I won't write it again, but I would like still want you to see that it is running. Okay, a little bit of deleting. Left wall. And it's good habit to have imports at the top. Okay, so let's run it. And this editor behaves a tiny bit different. What you will spot here, that it's always printing only after the full line is being ready. But in general, it is still behaving the very same way. So please, please, please experiment, experiment, experiment. So this was just general idea how you can do transferability of your ideas, how once you learn it, even in something as simple as Scratch, how you can convert it to Python. If you would wish, I would definitely show it even in other languages. But I have one more example, which might be closer to one of you eventually. I was previously speaking about Microsoft Excel and how you can simplify your life. So let's go for the Microsoft Excel. Let me just open it. And share the screen. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm opening blank Excel, and now it's hopefully also being shared. Once you are in Excel, the majority of us will do just typing of a lot of data and then putting some formulas. But imagine if you figure out that, oh, okay, I have here the data, which are not same. Let's say that you were, or someone provided you data, which were something like test 1, test 2, test 3. This is just a simplified version. But imagine someone will provide this to you and you realize, oh, it should not be test 1, but it should be test 100, test 200, and test 300. It is trivial case, so I know that Excel itself would probably allow you some smartness to increase the numbers, but if you have also other challenges or other options, and that's where we are getting to the coding. In the Excel, you can actually activate this ribbon, which is called developer. It's in the settings. So you can search for it, and if you don't find it, for example, on Mac, you can trigger it. You can trigger it by, I believe, it's Command Shift F11. But if you won't find it, definitely it's in the settings. So let's eventually go there. I will skip that part for now. And instead, I will show you the beautiful thing of how to save the time. Imagine, again, that you are doing something repeatable. You are filling some data again and again because you have just opened a brand new sheet and you need it to contain some data from the scratch. And you don't want to type them. The easiest way would be, for example, to run the macro if you already have one. We don't have it. How can I get at least a simple one here? And that's thing that I would really strongly recommend you. If you are not sure how to program, use these recordings. The code itself is not as great as you would write it by yourself, I believe it, but it will nicely show you where to start. So let's try to record our first macro. And our first macro will be relatively simple. It will say just test hello world. Okay, and I will stop recording. I've just recorded my first code. What I will do, I will just delete it. And okay, I need it back. I can press Ctrl-Z. Or, because I'm guru, I already recorded the macro. I have everything there. I just click hit and run. And it is there. Because I was starting on different line, the test was moved. But that could be also altered. Let's have a look at it. We previously ran our first macro. This is the way how you can edit it. Click edit. And I wonder if the window will be open for you. No. So let me show it in a different way. All right. So here I will try to put the Excel in such a way that we still see it. Let me shrink it just a tiny bit. Here we see our data. Here we see our code. As you can see, it's starting with the active cell. So as I previously clicked on the cell, this was the one which was selected and it was filled. And now I will ask you, do you think that we would be able to create running cat also with this? Yes, we will, and we will try it. It will be a little bit crazy. The syntax of Visual Basic is not as easy, but I promise you, you can get used to it relatively fast. The biggest difference is the way how you define your variables, because we will need a few of them. And I believe this should be super useful to you eventually. What's nice about Excel and what we all, I hope, like is the coordinates, A1, A2, B1, B2. It's super easy to navigate where our stuff is. So let's define our columns. Or not columns. Let's define, yes, let's define names of our columns which we are going to use. Variant and var data is an array. I can close it. And here, what we are going to do is define the columns that we are planning to use. I will keep it short, so I will use, for now, just 3 columns. Or actually, I can add more. So we have defined our columns. The next step is that we need to define 2 more variables, because in Excel, we are not moving on one line, but we are moving on column and rows. So we will need to somehow coordinate this, especially if we would like to keep the way how we were previously. You remember when we were running in one direction, it was on one line in Python, and then when we turn, it was all on the other line. I would like to keep this. For that, the navigation will be following. We need following variables, which will be dim I as integer. We will need one more, which will be dim j as integer. With this, we will need to actually modify, we will need two more things. This is helping us with the movement, but we need to keep the information of what is the cat X position and what is the move. We know these variables, we already use them, right? So dim cat X as integer, then move integer. Once we have these two, we can, right at the beginning, define the very same way the move. As you can see, the definition or assigning the values to the variable is pretty much same in every language. Okay, now what we're going to do, we are going to go through one line. So what will be actually changing for us will be these columns and eventually lines. For walking through, we will use for loop. And for that, for I equals 1. And we would like to go through first, then. Okay, we have it. So we have our first, and we also would all nice but not so nice thing about Visual Basic. You always need to not forget to close it. This way, we will just iterate. Once we reach here, it will increase I by 1. Next thing, what we need to do is to go through the columns, because this ensures that we stay on one line. This will keep always the number the same, but now we need to also iterate through the column names, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So for j equals 0, because we have it's indexed from 0, you will eventually find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The worst case, and it should be 4. Yes. And again, 4. Next, J. And now the magic will start. Now the magic line will be just about setting the X value. So X equal X plus move. It is very same as it was previously. And what we need to do, and what we already see here, that's why I really intentionally keep it here. If you record a macro, keep it. It will be useful to you eventually. So I'm going to borrow this part of the code. And first, what we are going to do, we are going to select our var data j, which you can imagine that in this particular case, if the j is 0, it means that it will take a. And we need to concatenate this with the I, because the I is the one telling us what is the line. All right. So we have it. We have the range definition. Yeah. Knowledge of other languages. And we will set our value. Value equals X. And what I can do right now is that if I will run it, Oh, you see, the numbers are there, and it happened like this. There is still one thing missing, and I will edit the same way we did it previously. Once we hit a wall, we should start to decrease. And I promise that I will show it in each and every language. So please bear with me. Those are last 4 lines of the code that we are going to create together today. So if the move is bigger than 0, then we will start actually not move. If the X is here I have the mistake. Yeah, of course, I do have my cheat sheet. I just load it up. Yeah, everyone, to be honest, I'm not using Visual Basic every day. If it would be Java, it would be easier. But in general, what we want to do here, if the X is bigger than 3, we know, or actually if it's bigger than 100, we definitely know that we want to decrease the value. So it will be -10. Else we will keep the move as it was. Move 10, and we need to close the and if. And if. And let's see if the miracle will happen in the way it was expected. Okay, the numbers are smaller, but I probably don't want it to be. Okay, 10 to 50, to 100. The numbers are getting smaller. And I can clean it anytime I wish. Oh, yeah, this is messing it. Time to time, the cleanup is usual thing to do, or if you forget it. By the way, this is what we wanted, right? 10 to 50, and then we are going back to 0 and back to 50 and to 0. We have our cat running in Scratch, Python, in other eyes for the Python, and we were even able to achieve it with Microsoft Excel. So please start coding now. And with that said, I can go back to our presentation and open the Q&A.
Vladimir, let me jump in and just say thank you so much for these enlightening moments. Actually, I was trying to follow myself on my other screen, and I more or less succeeded, except with the Excel. I couldn't find the developer function, but I think I need to check my settings then. But thank you so much, and we are super fortunate that you are with us for a few minutes longer. So please use the chat function to ask any questions that you might have to Vladimir, and we will be able, or we try to answer them, or Vladimir will try to answer them as good as he can. And I just have in the Q&A, I saw a question earlier. Okay, Annika, you already responded. So no question there. Vladimir, I have to say, as I said, until people are actually, or our attendees are actually asking some questions, I have one myself. So I was just thinking, I've never really had a chance to learn coding, you know, at school or whatsoever. When would you say is a right age to learn something like coding, like a language? I mean, if you have a look at Scratch, I think it could be quite easy, you know, for kids. But the Excel example is probably already a little advanced. So what would you say what is the best age, and with what would you start? With which language? Tough one.
Best age, yes, and this is really a tough one. I know you might not be happy if I will reply this way, but I will say any age is good to start with. It just depends on what you are using daily. Because I know, for example, Excel, I admit that the language is really hardest one out of all what I've shown today. On the other hand, if you as a person who's using Excel each and every day, and even if you simplify it tiny bit, you will have so much happiness out of it that it will actually motivate you to continue. And in my eyes, it really does not really matter which programming language you choose, as long as that language and the output of it is making you happy.
Oh, that's actually a good answer. Thank you so much. And we actually have a question in the chat from Maria, who wants to know, are there other easy to use apps to start coding for students between 12 and 15? So any suggestions there, Vladimir, for Maria?
Easiest to start apps. I personally would really go with the Scratch right from the beginning. As you could have seen, the thing which you learn about algorithmization with the Scratch is there. Nobody will steal it from you and you can reuse it. The next step could be Python. That's one choice, like really strong one nowadays. I would also offer to have a look at Kotlin, which is another hard language for me. Like not hard, but hard. I like the language a lot. It's bringing quite some nice features into what you can create from in really short amount of the code. So this is how I would definitely start and recommend it.
Thank you so much, Vladimir. I hope that answers your question, Maria. Sure, Christoph is just posting in the chat that there's also Snap next to Scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Probably also a nice tool to start with.
Definitely.
All right. So are there any more questions? We still have a few minutes left. So please use the chat function if there's anything you would like to know. Actually, I would like to know what is the for you nowadays? I know that you've been, you're into software and everything. So what is the challenge in terms of coding for you nowadays? While you're really in the job. I mean, doing it in school is probably something different, but now that you're working, what is let's say a daily challenge?
Daily challenge. I believe it's still the same as it always was, to write a code which is efficient and really always well tested. That's no matter which task I work on, I always want it to be top quality. So I aim to create a lot of tests and then trying to figure out how the code to write the smallest amount of the code which will actually fulfill the test, because the tests are, in my eyes, the requirements which the code should fulfill.
Okay.
So,
yeah, thank you so much. There's actually thank you for Snap 6.9.2. I'm not sure. Oh, Annika, you actually have a question. If I see your hand, please.
Yes, exactly. I have a question as well. As Philip already said a couple of minutes ago, I wasn't as fortunate enough to have coding in school, but and I think nowadays as well, coding is not mandatory for school children. Do you think that it should be something that should be mandatory at schools to learn how to code?
I can influence the government, but if I could, I would say, please, at least 1 hour a week. It won't harm anyone, and it will give quite a big insight into how the systems are working. So in my eyes, yes, it should be. If there is this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we all agree there that it should be something to learn. I really regret that I haven't had a chance to learn it in school. For me nowadays, it's quite tough. And what totally resonated with me actually, Vladimir, was when you said do something. It does not have to be much, but to do it on a regular basis. So I've been trying to work with Snap to understand it, but it's, as you said, the challenge is to do it regularly. So therefore, right challenging. If there aren't any more questions, I would like to thank Vladimir again. and also our partners, and especially you, our Meet and Code community audience, for your time, for your attention this afternoon. We've enjoyed hosting you, and I hope you walk away with feeling a little bit more inspired, a little more motivated to start your coding career, or to start coding after all. I at least can tell more for myself that I'm again motivated. I will take some time, at least 10 minutes, Vladimir. And I noticed that tonight to work on my Python skills, actually. Also, I would like to thank Annika again for your support in preparing the seminar. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you all again in the next Meet and Code online seminars. Remember to check out our Meet and Code website, browse through our inspiration library, and follow us on social media. And on that light note, thank you again, Vladimir, for everything. I feel super inspired, super motivated to continue my coding journey. And on that light note, have a great Thursday afternoon, and see you in the next Meet and Code online seminars. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you very much for having the opportunity to be here.